What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F1 22 My Team Career Mode. We're here in Brazil for the penultimate race of the season, and it is very exciting. The gap between myself and Lando Norris is currently 15 points in the championship, with me in the lead. So we can win the championship here with a strong result, but like I said, it will take a strong result. If he outperforms us, it's not completely over just yet, but we can't count our chickens before they've hatched, so to speak. We do still need to put in a couple of strong performances here in Brazil and Abu Dhabi, especially because, as you can see now, it is a sprint weekend here in Brazil, which means we've got not one but two races, and if Lando Norris outperforms us in both of them, he could actually put himself within touching distance of the championship, but I'm going to try and do everything I can to prevent that from happening, in no small part because I want to defend my championship. Last race in Portugal, we had a strong result as a team. I got first and I think Piastri came fifth. I could be wrong about that. And yeah, as a result, we wrapped up the team's championship with a couple races to go. Very strong performance from the team all through the year. Myself, Piastri, and also Pourchaire, who was with us in the first half of the season as well. And yeah, now we are going to try and go even further and win the Drivers' Championship with one race to go if we possibly can. First up, we've obviously got practice, and we're going to see what we can do in that session. And as we come to the end, you can see that we came third with Piastri second. Norris a bit far afield in 10th, but he did only run on the medium compound tyres, so hard to say for certain what his pace would be like if he'd done a run on the softs. Leclerc actually fastest there, but I don't think he's too much of a threat. He kind of threw away any chances of getting into the championship fight last race when he failed to reach Q3. I think he did end up scoring a few points in that race, but yeah, it wasn't enough for him to make it through into Q3. So yeah, that was his championship basically over at that point. And yeah, it means it's just me and Norris now with these last two races remaining that can still win the championship. I need just a couple of decent results. If I outperform him in the sprint and in the race, then I could well wrap it up here and now. If he outperforms me in both of them, then he could even swing the championship back in his direction. So yeah, we need to get a good result. We can't mess around too much. And hopefully Oscar Piastri can put in a couple of good results. He's done enough that will make me want to re-sign him for the following season, I think. The only thing perhaps that is making me kind of want to go in a different direction is just to truly try and trigger a bit of a silly season with Perez retiring as well. And yeah, we're now in qualifying. You can see our first lap was a 106.9, same as Norris did, but his decimals were just a tiny bit faster. He was about 5/500ths of a second or so faster, I think. And then as we come onto the next lap, you can see that actually our lap time wasn't quite fast enough to get any improvement, but it didn't matter too much because when we crossed the line, it was good enough for us to take P10 in the session, which meant yeah we ended up crossing the line to make it through to Q2. And now we're going to try and go one further and go to Q3. Only a couple tenths off of the fastest time set there by Max Verstappen, so I think we're in a pretty strong position here. Norris only fourth. He'll probably need to do better than that if he wants to catch me in the Drivers' Championship, so we'll see what he can do. Piastri in sixth as well, and a strong performance from him, and we'll see how these performances translate into Q2 and who will be making it into Q3 as we now make our way into Q2, and this is our first flying lap on a used set of soft compound tyres, so we are going to be a little bit slower than our maximum potential pace. It's a 107.1, so actually not bad to start off, and we'll see what we can do on a set of fresh soft compound tyres. Gosh, tripping over my words there. And indeed, we end up improving by about 5/10 as we come up to the line on this fresh set of soft compound tyres. It's good enough to put us into P5. Yeah, P5. So yeah, that's pretty good. It means we're through to Q3. I think Piastri got through as well, and in fact Piastri came first. So yeah, really strong performance from him. And yeah, hopefully we can have a good result as a team in Q3. You know, 1/10 separated the top 6 there. Meanwhile, Leclerc and both of the Mercedes are out in in Q2, so that was a bit surprising. Pourchaire there getting through to Q3, very strong performance from him in that Alfa Romeo. Probably the first semblance of performance I've actually seen from Alfa Romeo, so yeah, very impressive from them. And yeah, we'll see what he can do in Q3 now, as we go on a used set of softs once again. It's a 107.0. We will have to find quite a lot of improvement, about 5/10 or so, if we want to start knocking on the door of pole. You can see there I cut the track, but it's okay because that was after I'd already crossed the line. And now, yeah, it looks like we're going to be improving again by about 5/10 or so as we approach the run to the finish line. It's actually closer to 6/10 by the looks of things. Yeah, it's about 6/10 or so. So, yeah, this has been a pretty strong performance. I don't know if it's going to be good enough for pole or not. We crossed the line, and in the end, it's good enough to put us P4. Not fantastic, actually. You know, it's not bad, but I've had poles here before. I was kind of hoping for something a bit better than that. But you can see we were actually a couple tenths off of Norris, and we're going to have to try and make up at least 1 or 2 positions here, I think, if we're going to try and keep Norris honest in this championship fight. And yeah, maybe we'll be able to get ahead of him. I think it really depends on strategy and also, you know, just what his kind of overall pace looks like in the sprint. I think it's going to be raining in the race, if I remember correctly. So we are very much going to depend on the result of this sprint. You know, we need the sprint to go well, because I think making up any places in the race is going to be difficult while it's raining. So yeah, we have a lot to ride on. But a very strong performance there from Piastri in P2, and hopefully he can convert that into a strong performance in the race as well. And we'll see what kind of performance he can glean from that P2. Maybe he could challenge Norris for the win. Who knows? But yeah, there's a lot to take place before that as we prepare now to get into the sprint race. I'm very keen to see, you know, what is going to happen in the sprint. And we'll see if we can, yeah, hopefully make our way at least up into third and maybe even into second, potentially. Just double checking that I hadn't missed a regulation change or anything like that, and we're absolutely fine. There hadn't been. I would have enough resource points to cover it off if there had been, but yeah, nothing to worry about as we now move into the sprint.
So it's all about speed in today's sprint. Not very many laps and no chance to get ahead on strategy. Who here today has the raw skill to take them to the top?
I'd wage to say it will probably be Norris, but it could be me. I just need to have a good race, you know. I can't be too aggressive, because otherwise that's going to cause me to go backwards. But also I can't be too passive, because that's also going to cause me to lose out.
Fantastic qualifying session. It's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and Oscar Piastri completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Robinson, Carlos Sainz, and Ocon, Perez, Théo Pourchaire, Fernando Alonso, and Daniel Ricciardo, Albon, Tsunoda, Guan Yu Zhou, and Russell, Leclerc, Gasly, Mick Schumacher, and Kevin Magnussen, Stroll, Lundgaard, Latifi, and Robert Schwartzman. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here, especially because I am going on an alternative strategy to everyone else, and I am going to be on the soft compound tyres for this sprint. You know, my tyre wear was looking pretty good in practice, so I'm thinking I can take a set of softs all the way to the end, and the team seemed to think so as well. I didn't mess around with fuel too much, but it's going to be all right. And yeah, hopefully we can have a good start and try and use the fact that we're on a superior compound of tyre to at least jump Verstappen off the start, and maybe look at jumping Piastri as well, possibly to start challenging Norris. So everyone else lining up on the grid now, and we're going to see if we can get the start of Dreams and make up a few positions and hopefully really put the cat amongst the pigeons, so to speak. As the lights come on and the lights go out as we switch to the replay camera, Piastri there has had a fantastic start, and we've not had a bad one either. Piastri moving to cover off Norris now, and they're going wheel to wheel through the first corner as myself and Verstappen also go wheel to wheel. Who's going to win out in these battles? Piastri wins out, and I win out, and I almost go into the back of Norris, who I think got squeezed by Piastri a little bit, and this is allowing me to hound Norris all the way down this next straight as Piastri has taken the lead of the sprint. We switch to the outside at the last second. We're going to try and hang it around the outside of Lando Norris, but it doesn't quite work out, and you can see that, he has reclaimed this position for now. I end up cutting off Verstappen a little bit there, who tries to make it back past me, and now as we look on board, you can see I dive up the inside of Norris and make my way into P2, and that is a fantastic start to the Grand Prix. We've gone from being 2 and 4 to 1 and 2 in just half a lap, which is absolutely fantastic, and hopefully we can hold on to this for the remainder of the sprint. Brilliant start by Oscar Piastri, and it looks like he might be taking another win here. Even if it is just a sprint, I'm sure he will be more than happy to pick up a few points here in his quest for sort of 6th or 7th in the drivers' standings, which I think is still possible if he can have a good result here and in Abu Dhabi. And fantastic from us as well, up 2 places on the first lap. I know we're on a superior compound of tyre, but still very exciting to see. And that was basically all that happened all race. No retirements, no controversy, no yellow flags, not really anything, just a bit of a train. I let Piastri hold on to this, I didn't challenge him too much. Towards the beginning of the race, I probably could have challenged him a bit harder, but I wasn't really fussed about it. And he comes home to take the win, and I come home to take P2 in the sprint.
Thank you for all your hard work out there. That was a strong drive and a great finish. Well done.
And that's another point that we extend over our rival of Lando Norris. We get driver of the day for our troubles for those 2 overtakes we made at the start. And that was the sprint.
Robinson increases their championship lead. So let's review the updated driver standings. With that result, the sport's newest team can no longer be touched at the top of the table. What an incredible journey this has been for a team many had written off a short time ago. They are the Formula One World Champions. Well, that wraps up the sprint. All that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
Piastri only needs to recover 7 points to get ahead of George Russell in the standings, and if he can manage to get 22 points ahead of Sainz, then he could still get P6 in the driver standings, which would be fantastic for a driver who was in a Haas for half the season. We're now 16 points ahead of Norris, and there is a very realistic chance that we could wrap this race up in the following race. If we can jump Piastri off the start in the sprint and get into the lead, that would be good enough. If we can get first and Norris is held to being in third, that would be enough for us to win the Drivers' Championship. I'd say we're in a very strong position right now. It is going to be wet, which means it's going to be hard to take the lead in the race, but I think we can give a good go of it, and we'll see what happens as we now move into the race.
Welcome along then to where heroes and history are made. It's where the 2008 title was decided in the very final corner. And just 1 year later, Jenson Button stormed through from 14th on the grid to claim his one and only Drivers' Championship. It's time then for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Interlagos, always a very special race here in Brazil. It's a 2.7 mile circuit with 9 left turns and 6 right turns for a total of 15 corners. It's a wet one today as well, so grip and visibility will be at a premium, and the drivers will need to be careful coming up the hill in Sector 3, the scene of many an accident over the years. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Oscar Piastri lines up on pole position, and Robinson completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Verstappen, Sainz, Esteban Ocon, and Perez, Ricciardo, Russell, Gasly, and Lando Norris. They've taken a grid penalty. Joe, Leclerc, Mick Schumacher, and Schwartzman, Stroll, Théo Pourchaire, Fernando Alonso, and Nicholas Latifi, Magnussen, Tsunoda, Albon, and Christian Lundgaard. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. Well, it's not going to be plain sailing for our drivers today, although with the sky falling as it is, perhaps sailing isn't too far from the truth. Anthony Davidson could be a wet one today. Great to have you with us. What are your thoughts?
It is a touch damp, isn't it? Well, as a driver, there are 3 big things to worry about when racing in these kind of conditions: standing water, tyre temperature and visibility. Judging distance to the cars around you is really tricky when you're driving through the vast amounts of spray that these wet weather Pirelli tyres kick up.
Lando Norris has taken a grid penalty. He is starting, I think, P10, if I'm not mistaken. He needs to recover to P5 if he wants to still be in a chance of winning this championship. Because where I'm sitting right now, I will be outscoring him by 17 points. And I can't outscore him by more than 8 points. I actually go to check and see if the championship standings can tell me anything, but they can't really. They just say I'll be leading the championship, but I think I will win the championship as things stand at the moment. And Norris, yeah, will have to recover to at least P5 if he wants to have any chance of winning this championship. So yeah, we need to try and hold on to the position that we're in at the moment. Maybe try and challenge Piastri just to make things even more comfortable. Then Norris has to come second, or I guess third with fastest lap. And that's all he can do. So as we move into the start of the race, the lights go out after what feels like an eternity, and we do not get the best of starts. You can see we're being challenged around the outside by Verstappen already, and also we've got Sainz up the inside. We're going to go down the middle. We actually clatter into the side of Sainz's side pod there. Hopefully we don't get any damage, and somehow the middle seems to work out. I think Piastri managed to hold up Verstappen quite significantly to the point that Perez has now jumped him as well, and yeah, that has meant that we are currently 1 and 2 still. Sainz in P3, who has made up a position or 2 off the start. Perez has made up a position as well, and Verstappen is the biggest loser there. You know, he had the potential to worm his way into P2 potentially, and now he's all the way down in P5. That outside line really not working out for him on this occasion. Norris, I don't think, has made up any positions just yet. I'm trying to have a look. Yeah, I think he's still in P10. So, yeah, a lot to do for him. And hopefully he won't be able to do it, and we can close out this championship nice and early. We're in a very comfortable position right now, and I want to stay in a very comfortable position if we possibly can. If he finishes P10, all we need to do is finish 4th, and we will have wrapped up this championship with no real qualms, even if he gets fastest lap and we finish 4th. It still won't be good enough, I think, because I'll win on countback, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, we're looking very good right now. I do need to make sure I'm using my battery to full effect, because Sainz will be closing me down in these straights, just due to the nature of how I've got my car set up, and also traction and things like that. So, yeah, we've got quite a lot to worry about, but hopefully we'll be able to get through this race without too many headaches. Now we're looking on board with Mick Schumacher, and that was Lando Norris just going through, and you can see that he actually had a bit of a spin on the exit of that corner. He's now taken to the grass, and Schumacher has slammed into the back of Lando Norris. Norris rejoins. I think he's now down into 15th or 16th or something like that, and that is Schumacher pulling off to the side of the road as Norris moves through, and that has triggered a safety car. But yeah, Norris has gone from bad to worse. He was in 10th. He's now down in, I think, about 15th or something like that. He's eliminated Schumacher from the Grand Prix. And yeah, we are gonna try and maybe jump Piastri off the safety car restart if we possibly can. We're weirdly good at safety car restarts in the wet. You know, you've seen me on a couple of occasions make a double or even a triple overtake off the safety car restart, such as the one I did in Zandvoort last season, which ended up being incredibly pivotal for the championship. And yeah, we're going to see if we can maybe try and get ahead of Piastri and just really try and cement any chance that that we have of winning this championship. You know, make sure there's no way that Norris can win it. The restart happens. We're going to maybe try and look around the outside of Piastri here. There's a yellow flag, as I think that Sainz has locked up and gone straight onto the grass off the track. And yeah, that is not fantastic for him. It means Ocon now moves up to P5. Perez and Verstappen just behind in P3 and P4. I think I'm going to come under a bit of pressure here from Perez actually, and he thinks better of it as I kind of close down the avenue of attack for him, and that is us holding on to P2 for the time being, and we'll see whether we can close this out as a P1, P2 finish for the team. I don't think I'll be able to get ahead of Piastri now. I think the restart was about the best opportunity I probably had, and yeah, we'll see what we can do in the remaining half of this race as we now move on to lap 18. This is my pit lap. We'll see if Piastri is going to come in. He's not, so I will come in. If he'd have stayed, or if he'd have come in, I'd have stayed out. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Perez and Verstappen both staying out as well. Meanwhile, Leclerc and Gasly and a number of other cars are all coming into the pits, and we will see where we come out in relation to Perez, Verstappen, and everyone else when that happens, as well as being in the shit in other ways. Norris also has a 5-second penalty, so I think he's really been put through the ringer in this race. I'll be very surprised if he scores any points with just 18 laps to go. And yeah, we're going to see where we come out in relation to our teammate Piastri. He was the person we were closest to. I think there is a possibility we might be able to undercut him on this strategy actually, so he has been royally screwed. I think I got the favourable strategy out of the two of us, so yeah, I'm not really sure why that's happened. But yeah, as we come out the pits, you can see it's going to be very close between myself and Piastri. I'm burning battery, and I have come out ahead of him. However, neither of the Red Bulls have actually pitted yet, and something I realised at this point, the fact that neither of them had pitted, they're doing what they did in Imola much earlier in the season. If you remember that race in Imola where I decided to gamble, having been down in sort of like 19th or something like that, I decided to gamble and see if I could go to the end on one set of intermediates, and I actually just about managed it and ended up going all the way from the back of the grid to 3rd place. And the Red Bulls on that race as well, neither of them pitted. They both did the same strategy to me, which is why they got P1 and P2. And yeah, the exact same thing is happening in this scenario where Perez and Verstappen are leading. However, it might not be the exact same thing, because we have just been told that there may be a problem about to plague us if we're not careful. Leclerc, that's the fastest lap, which means we're not going to come away with any point from this race whatsoever. And yeah, my dreams of winning the championship might be about to be dashed for this race at least. We'll still be leading, I imagine, unless Norris makes an insane recovery. But yeah, unless this is a DRS fault or something, I think, yep, that is it for our Grand Prix. And yeah, we're going to have to retire. And that is, you know, 10 laps away from winning the championship. We're going to have to wait one more race to do it now. And if we have a really poor race in Abu Dhabi, then things could still turn around in Norris's favour. But for the time being, we will, yeah, we'll just see what we can do in Abu Dhabi, whether we can claw it back. Again, we'll only need a P5 finish there. That's all we'll need. We just need to finish P5. It doesn't need to be amazing, but yeah, it's going to be tough. And that has given a lifeline to Lando Norris, crucially. So yeah, I guess you'll just have to tune in to the following video to see who wins the championship.
Witnessed some great battles around the historic curves of Interlagos today, and they've taken a fantastic win. Well, Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today, but what set them apart from the rest? Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves.
1-2 for Red Bull will certainly do them no harm in the constructors' standings, and with Sainz bottling it, and with Norris having some issues as well on the McLaren side of things, I think this fight for P2 in the constructors just got a hell of a lot spicier, with 3 teams possibly being able to still win it. We'll see exactly what the standings look like in just a moment, but I think it is very tight between those 3 teams now.
Let's have a look then at the drivers' standings. Let's focus on the driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
Well, my driver of the day has to be Charles Leclerc. He was unstoppable out on the track today, weaving through the competition with ease.
Nothing can challenge the leaders in the Constructors' Championship at this point. But with that result, the sport's newest team can no longer be touched at the top of the table. What an incredible journey this has been for a team many had written off a short time ago. They are the Formula One World Champions. Meanwhile, Ferrari have improved their position. A strong weekend for them as they fight their way towards the top. Well, that was certainly an exciting weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for more exciting Formula One action very soon.
Well, there's a lot of big storylines left to wrap up in this season of My Team Career Mode. We've first got the battle between myself and Lando Norris, which once again, I'm going to have a championship battle go down to the wire in Abu Dhabi, and whilst I might be in a much more advantageous position here, it is not over until it is over. Meanwhile, Oscar Piastri is locked in a battle for 6th in the championship. I think if he has a good result in Abu Dhabi, he could wrap that up as well. And the final storyline, which is very interesting, is that there are only 9 points separating Ferrari, McLaren and Red Bull in the Constructors' Championship. So any of those teams could still take P2 in the Constructors behind us. We've wrapped that up no matter what happens, but there's still a lot to decide as we move into Abu Dhabi in the following race. But that is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe and catch the following video. It's going to be a banger, so hopefully I'll see you in the next one.